In a highly anticipated visit to Washington, China's Foreign Minister, Wang Yi, emphasized the need for in-depth and comprehensive dialogue between the United States and China in order to address their disagreements and reduce misunderstandings. Standing alongside U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, Wang acknowledged that the two countries share important common interests and challenges that require joint resolution. Wang stressed the importance of not only resuming dialogue but also ensuring that it is thorough and comprehensive. He believed that such dialogue would contribute to reducing misunderstandings, stabilizing the relationship, and guiding it back to a path of healthy, stable, and sustainable development. Secretary Blinken concurred with Wang's sentiments, expressing his agreement with the foreign minister's statements. Prior to Wang's remarks, Blinken had expressed his anticipation for constructive talks with his Chinese counterpart. He also conveyed his condolences over the passing of China's former premier, Li Keqiang. Wang's three-day visit to Washington is part of a series of diplomatic engagements between the two strategic rivals as they strive to manage their differences and avoid potential conflicts. The primary purpose of his visit is to prepare for an upcoming summit between President Joe Biden and President Xi Jinping, expected to take place in November. The recent Israel-Hamas conflict has injected a new element into the already complicated relationship between the superpowers. The United States is hopeful that China can utilize its influence with Iran to prevent the situation from escalating into a broader conflict in the Middle East. The Biden administration's top priority in its dealings with Beijing is to prevent intense competition and disagreements on various issues, such as trade, Taiwan, and the South China Sea, from spiraling into outright conflict. Although both China and the United States have expressed their willingness to find areas of cooperation, and President Xi stated China's readiness to collaborate on global challenges, experts anticipate that immediate progress may be limited. According to policy analysts in both China and the United States, there is a shared interest in preventing a broader conflict in the Middle East. They believe that China, as a significant purchaser of oil, has the potential to exert considerable influence over Iran. However, whether China will indeed take on this role remains uncertain. John Alterman, the head of the Middle East program at Washington's Center for Strategic and International Studies, explained that the Chinese have a vested interest in avoiding a direct confrontation between the United States and Iran due to their status as major oil consumers. Such a confrontation would lead to a spike in oil prices. However, Alterman also expressed skepticism about China's willingness to actively engage in resolving the Israel-Gaza conflict, suggesting that they may prefer to have a seat at the table after the issue is resolved rather than hasten its resolution. Shireen Hong, a professor of international relations at Renmin University of China, acknowledged that China exerting its influence over Iran is one of the few significant expectations the United States has regarding China's role in the Middle East. However, Shir noted that the U.S. position on Iran is not acceptable to China, and vice versa. Therefore, finding a mutual compromise on this issue may be challenging and may not have significant impact. Wang Yi's visit to Washington follows visits by several top U.S. officials, including Secretary Blinken, to Beijing in recent months. Analysts believe that Wang's talks are specifically aimed at preparing for an anticipated meeting between President Biden and President Xi Jinping on the sidelines of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation (APEC) summit in San Francisco. This meeting would be the first face-to-face encounter between the two leaders since the summit in Bali last November. As the two sides approach the APEC summit, they do so from different economic perspectives. Economic policy analysts suggest that the United States has weathered the global challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic somewhat better than China. In addition to economic matters, U.S. officials have stated that Taiwan, as well as the South and East China Seas, will be on the agenda during the meeting. They have accused Beijing of engaging in destabilizing and dangerous actions in these regions, and re-establishing military-to-military ties with China remains a top priority to avoid unintended conflict, according to U.S. officials.